over-exploiting and damaging nature by not understanding how much we depend on everything that nature provides, and also not understanding or having been somehow trained to believe.
It started with what appeared to be a simple royal gesture, a grandpa sending a birthday message to his granddaughter. However, nothing in the royal family is straightforward, especially not when the telegram came from King Charles, and especially not when that granddaughter is Princess Charlotte, Prince William and Princess Catherine's only daughter, and a spitting picture of Princess Diana. What happened in the hours after was nothing short of a palace earthquake. On the morning of Charlotte's 9th birthday, the royal family's official social media accounts shared the typical tribute, a charming photo of the little princess smiling in a garden, followed by warm comments from her parents. Later that afternoon, however, something unexpected happened. King Charles himself issued a personal declaration. The tone was unusually personal, even emotional, and completely out of character for the often reticent queen. He wrote, "Charlotte inherited her grandmother's strength, brilliance, and Diana's unshakable kindness. I notice that every time she enters the room, she is not just the family's future, but also its heart." The public erupted into a frenzy. News anchors described it as one of the most poignant royal comments since Diana's death. Royal critics applauded the king for finally acknowledging the power of Diana's legacy. What about online? The post skyrocketed, with millions of likes, hundreds of reposts, and limitless discussion. But one individual remained noticeably silent: Queen Camilla. She made no response, did not distribute the message, and most importantly, was not seen by Charles in the hours after it was released. According to insiders inside the palace, the queen consort was furious. Not only was the public adoration extended to a kid who was not even her blood relative, but Charles also dared to use Diana's name, again, in a way that sparked old scars and started silent hostilities. Charles had already drawn a line in the sand between his past and present. This time, he did it for Diana's granddaughter. To the world, it appeared to be a moving homage. But inside the monarchy, it was a royal explosion waiting to happen. Why would a monarch laud Kate's daughter and Diana's grandchild without mentioning the queen standing beside him? That is not simply a message. It's a message that ought to be heard, loud and clear. And Camilla? She overheard it. Oh, she heard it all right. She did not take it well. For most royal observers, it began as any other celebration. Princess Charlotte turned 9, and as predicted, Kensington Palace issued her official birthday photo. The shot looked lovely, with Charlotte in a light blue dress, framed by spring blossoms and flashing the confident smile she's become renowned for. The media lauded her elegance. The public swooned over her similarity to Princess Diana, and hashtags like #PrincessCharlotte, #HappyBirthdayCharlotte, and of course, #MiniDiana trended instantaneously. But none predicted what happened next. Several hours after the photo was uploaded, Clarence House, King Charles's office, issued an extraordinary statement, a personal message from the king to Princess Charlotte. And this was not a formality. It was raw, personal, and emotional, words that sent the press corps reeling and the palace into damage control mode. The king's message reads, "My beloved Charlotte, you remind me of someone I adore deeply. Your grandma Diana. You bear her brightness, her sympathy, her courage. The way you already defend your boys and face the world with wide eyes warms my heart. You are the future of our family, and more importantly, the beating heart. With love, Grandpa." That one message lit fire to the press. Royal biographers saw it as the most revealing insight into King Charles's emotional state in decades. Others thought it was a silent apology for previous faults, an olive branch given not only to his granddaughter, but also to Diana's memory and maybe to William and Kate. The actual shock, however, was not only what Charles stated, it was in what he did not say. There was no mention of Queen Camilla. There was no homage to the mixed family that they had worked so hard to promote to the world. There was no mention of Camilla's own grandchildren, who have been repeatedly included in the new narrative of the modern monarchy. It was as if, for a brief moment, Charles had chosen to step out of the current royal arrangement and revisit the one that the public had never truly let go of. Diana, William, and a young future queen, and the repercussions were huge. Within hours, social media was flooded with similarities between Charlotte and Diana. Royal observers scrutinized every word of the king's message. Is he finally honoring Diana's legacy? Is this a covert reproach to Camilla? A show of remorse? Or is it more strategic, a method to elevate Charlotte as a crucial role in the monarchy's future generation? Whatever the objective, the outcome was clear. Charlotte was immediately at the center of the royal debate. Kate Middleton, always composed, was spotted later that evening at a charity event. When a reporter asked if she'd seen the king's letter, she smiled warmly but tightly, saying, "We're very touched." But sources say the occasion was traumatic for her, not just because Diana was mentioned, but also because of what it represented for her daughter's future. In private, Kate has always carefully protected Charlotte's emotional development, fully aware of the strains of growing up under the royal spotlight. But she also understands the value of legacy, and Charles's statement had just made Charlotte the most emotionally valued Windsor since Diana herself. And then there was William. He said he read the message before it went live. Some claim he was moved to tears. Others claim he was careful, not wanting his gesture to be seen as a political gimmick. However, most people agree that William gave it his blessing, and that, in royal words, means everything. The main tempest, however, was not raging in public. Behind the royal walls, in a particular drawing chamber, one woman, Queen Camilla, received the note and realized right once that it wasn't only about Charlotte. It was about being excluded. Again. Because Charles had not merely complimented his granddaughter. He had traced a direct lineage from Diana to Charlotte, and once again, he left Camilla out in the cold. In a matter of hours, the atmosphere behind Clarence House's glossy stone walls changed from one of joy to panic. While the world was fawning over King Charles's beautiful homage to Princess Charlotte, Queen Camilla was furious, and not in silence. According to palace sources, the Queen Consort's reaction was quick, explosive, and uncensored. She did not only disagree with the message, she took it personally. Camilla saw that the king had done more than just send his granddaughter a happy birthday card. He reopened a wound that had never fully healed. Even worse, he had done it on a worldwide scale. "Unforgivable," she allegedly said to a senior staffer, her voice harsh enough to reverberate down the corridor. The king's choice to mention Diana's name once more and link her legacy directly to Charlotte stung hard. Camilla had spent decades attempting to change the public narrative, portraying herself as a stabilizing influence in the monarchy, the lady who helped rehabilitate Charles following Diana's sad death. And now, that entire foundation seemed like it was crumbling under the shadow of a 9-year-old girl. According to insiders, the palace is in complete disarray. Camilla allegedly went into Charles's private study and slammed the door behind her. She demanded to know why she had not been consulted. Why were her grandkids left out? Why did Diana, of all people, have to be mentioned again? But Charles, caught aback by the inferno he had accidentally started, allegedly refused to back down. It was a message from a grandfather, he said, according to one source, not a press release from the crown. Camilla was not having it. She accused Charles of undercutting her role by letting Diana's spirit govern their present. And arguably the most revealing aspect of the argument, she did not mention Charlotte once. Her outrage was not directed at the kid, but at what the youngster now represented. Camilla's actions in the days that followed raised concerns both inside and beyond the palace. A scheduled appearance at a literacy event was unexpectedly canceled due to a private matter. A charity dinner she was supposed to host went on without her. Camilla has not been seen in public since the king's letter went up, according to royal photographers who have been tracking her for a long time. Behind closed doors, personnel were directed to screen all media references to Princess Charlotte before informing the Queen. It was as if she couldn't face the sight of the public's admiration, which she had fought so hard to win, just to be overshadowed by a kid and a memory. Camilla was bothered by more than simply Charles's compliments for Charlotte. It was because he prioritized Diana's lineage over her legacy. Despite years of damage control, carefully crafted news, and ceaseless efforts to modernize the monarchy, Camilla came to a painful realization. She would always remain the step-grandmother, the outsider, the woman who arrived thereafter. This time, there was no royal assistant, PR team, or powerful enough spin to hide the truth that the King of England looked at his granddaughter and saw Diana. Camilla's serenity was shaken by the echo of that fact. What ensued was the type of behind-the-scenes mayhem that no Buckingham balcony could conceal. For the public, King Charles's telegram to Princess Charlotte may have appeared to be an emotional gesture from a devoted grandfather. But some who understand the monarchy's inner workings saw something far deeper, a glimpse into the king's long-buried remorse and the ghost from which he has never fully fled. Diana is the name of that ghost. For decades, Charles has been plagued by the shadow of the lady he failed to love, to the extent that the world felt she deserved. Even now, years after her sad death, Diana's legacy lingers and dominates. Every loving gaze toward William, every carefully stated tribute to Kate, and now every impassioned statement directed toward Charlotte bears the unmistakable fingerprint of a man attempting to rewrite a legacy that history has already inscribed boldly. Diana's sadness was never limited to her premature death. It was about how she lived, lonely, rejected, and eventually betrayed by the same institution she attempted to serve. And at the center of that treachery was Charles. His affair with Camilla, his callous indifference during Diana's worst moments, his incapacity to protect her from the press, all of this is etched into public consciousness. Regardless of how far he rises or how many crowns he wears, a part of him will always be the man who destroyed Diana's heart. And now comes Charlotte, her granddaughter and mirror image. According to royal advisors, Charles has been more emotional in recent years, especially around his grandkids. But Charlotte has a particular place in his heart. She is not only William's daughter. In many respects, she resembles Diana. Her demeanor, her natural confidence, even the way she waves to the audience, all remind Charles of the girl he first met when she was 19, bright-eyed and full of promise. According to sources close to the palace, the king views Charlotte as his second opportunity, not to raise but to safeguard a child, to be present, to offer her what he failed to give her grandmother: unwavering support, public adoration, and her rightful place in history. However, Camilla is fully aware that Charles's public affection for Charlotte is more than just love. It is about penance. Despite his awards, titles, and pompous rights, Charles has never truly been forgiven, not by the general public, not by Diana's supporters. Some suspect that he might not even be alone. That message to Charlotte was not just emotional, it was strategic. It was a chance for him to recapture Diana's legacy on his own terms, by honoring her via the one person who could carry her spirit forward. But guilt does not come without consequences. Charles's over-reliance on Diana's memories has further widened the schism between him and Camilla. Every warm phrase to Charlotte reads as an exclusion of Camilla's role in the family. Every praise to Diana's spark reads as a rejection of Camilla's crown. While Charles may feel relieved when he meets Charlotte, Camilla sees a reckoning. Diana still wins, no matter how many years pass, in spirit, in lineage, and now in the heart of the man she used to call her husband. Charlotte is more than Charles's grandchild. She represents his living apologies, and whenever he grins at her, the ghost of Diana smiles back. When King Charles' message to Princess Charlotte became public, the media looked to Kensington Palace for a reaction, and, as usual, Princess Catherine handled the spotlight with effortless ease. The next day, when questioned about the king's comments, she just smiled and remarked, "We're extremely moved. Charlotte is really blessed to have her granddad." But behind that perfectly calibrated remark, insiders believe something considerably more complex was brewing beneath the surface. Kate is not new to palace politics. For more than a decade, she has balanced tradition with progress. However, Charles's public comparison of Charlotte to Diana was not purely political. It was profoundly personal. The Princess of Wales experienced a mix of appreciation, calculation, and lasting anguish. According to close friends, Kate was very affected by the king's homage. He had for once prioritized feeling above convention. He praised Charlotte's strength and, more crucially, Diana's continuing legacy, something the monarchy has long avoided. Kate, who has gone to great pains to keep Diana's legacy alive in subtle yet intentional ways, appreciated the gift. She clothed Charlotte in costumes inspired by Diana's classic style, boosted her daughter's public confidence, and taught her the calm dignity that once marked the people's princess. But this is where the warmth stops. Privately, Kate has never forgotten, or forgiven, Charles's part in Diana's misery. She may grin at Camilla in public, but there is a wall that has never completely come down. Diana, to her, is more than simply a tragic historical character. She's a mother-in-law Kate never met, a reminder of the past, and a presence that continues to influence how she raises her children. Charlotte was not just commended in that message. She was being anointed as Diana's spiritual successor. Kate felt enormous pleasure and pressure as a result of her acknowledgement. According to palace personnel, Kate reacted calmly to the message. She did not cry, gloat, or conspire. Instead, she embraced her position as guardian, strategist, and eventual queen. Over the next week, her staff made sure Charlotte's picture was front and center. The tiny princess clutching her siblings' hands emerged, coincidentally, in paparazzi images. Charlotte's behavior was compared to Diana's audacity during her early charitable engagements, according to media reports. Social media users shared flashback photos of Diana at Charlotte's age, beside the youngster who now wears her grin. It wasn't vengeance, it was a message, a reminder that Kate understands the long game and she's playing it well. Even at her most polished moments, those closest to Kate understand the truth. Her heart remains fiercely devoted to Diana, and while she respects and appreciates the king's gift, she has not forgotten Diana's years of quiet humiliation and replacement. Charles may now extol Diana's legacy via Charlotte, but Kate recalls the decades in which that legacy was buried. So she accepts the king's message. She appreciates his care for her daughter. What about forgiveness? That's not something she gives away so lightly. Because whereas Charles is only beginning to honor Diana, Kate has been doing it from the start. Queen Camilla has spent decades transforming her image, from royal mistress to respectable consort, from tabloid villain to Queen of England. It was a change that was meticulously planned, brutally handled, and for the most part, shockingly effective. Despite Camilla's best attempts to gain public favor, there is one war she can never win: the struggle for Diana's blood. And now that lineage has a new face: Princess Charlotte. Charlotte is already a popular figure in the community. She is poised, vivacious, and unwaveringly confident, with Diana's sparkle in her eyes and Kate's discipline in her posture. She captivates photographers effortlessly. Every wave, curtsy, and sideways glance at formal occasions goes viral. And as she progresses, so does the story. She's the next Diana, not by scandal, but by the soul. Camilla finds the story to be nothing short of terrifying. Insiders claim the Queen was upset not just by Charles's homage to Charlotte, but also by the ramifications of it. Camilla has always understood that William and Kate's children will eventually take center stage. But she didn't expect to be superseded today, especially by a kid who doesn't even have a formal title other than princess. Camilla sees Charlotte as threatening not only because of her popularity. It's what she represents, a clean continuation of Diana's legacy, free of scandal and admired without effort. In many respects, Charlotte has already accomplished what Camilla never did: unconditional public affection, and it stings. Unlike Camilla's grandkids, who have often remained in the background, Charlotte is being groomed for prominence. Kate and William guarantee that she attends chosen events, interacts with international leaders, and even walks ahead of senior royals during some visits. Every photograph of Charlotte conveys a single message: here is the future, and not just any future, a future descended straight from Diana. According to royal advisors, Camilla has become increasingly resistant to conversations about Charlotte's public engagement. In one closed-door meeting, when aides recommended Charlotte join the Queen on a charity endeavor to promote intergenerational appeal, Camilla allegedly screamed, "Why don't you ask her mother, or better yet, her ghost?" The room became quiet. The envy is evident. Camilla finds herself withering as Charlotte ascends. She hears whispers about Charlotte's Diana energy, sees tabloids refer to her as the people's granddaughter, and feels the limelight she worked so hard for slowly slips away. The most terrible fact for Camilla, however, is that she will never be able to compete with Diana's memory. And now she can't compete with Diana's grandchild. Charlotte does not require palace strategists. She doesn't require spin. She simply exists, and the world accepts her. The same world that continues to despise Camilla for her role in Diana's misery. Camilla was worried that Diana's legacy would plague her rule. She never anticipated Diana's legacy to have a face, voice, and a curtsy. Her name would be Charlotte. In the glittering hallways of Buckingham Palace, where tradition whispers through every corridor and paintings of kings adorn the walls, a silent transformation is taking place, not in statements or ceremonies, but in something far more powerful: public opinion. Princess Charlotte may only be 9 years old, but she has already become a symbol of what the monarchy badly needs: continuity with conscience and legacy through love. She is Diana's spirit wrapped in Kate's steel, strolling by her brothers with grace that defies her age. When King Charles looked at her, he saw optimism, and so did the people. His message to her was more than just grandfatherly tenderness. It was a royal signal, a reminder that some lineages cannot be obliterated, no matter how many crowns are passed, how many scandals occur, or how many titles are awarded behind closed doors. In Charlotte, the monarchy sees the return of what it once had, a throbbing heart that the public wishes to emulate. Camilla, for all her attempts, understands this. No matter how many organizations she supports, how many brooches she wears, or how many waves she offers from the balcony, she will never move the public spirit in the same manner as Charlotte has. And that understanding, the horrible, undeniable reality, might be the precise thing that shatters her carefully constructed facade. The royal family's destiny is no longer defined solely by titles and procedures. It's all about connection. It is about who the people believe should lead, not who the crown decides. And Princess Charlotte, with her Diana eyes and Windsor blood, isn't waiting for approval. She's already on the route. As King Charles enters his twilight years and the monarchy struggles to reinvent itself in a constantly changing world, one thing is certain: the crown may not be on her head yet. However, in the hearts of the people, Charlotte already rules.